Ladies and gentlemen, some days the news is actually really difficult to read because the news articles that come out really hit you to the core. And I must say that one of the news articles that I want to cover today actually is around Remembrance Sunday, because if you don't know already, Remembrance Sunday occurred at the weekend. For those of you who don't know what Remembrance Sunday is, well, it's the day to honor the dead who died during World War II for the freedoms of the West. And I say the freedoms of the West because the freedoms of the West are fast disappearing. But before we get on to the main video of today, can I yet again remind you, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to support the work that I do, you're welcome to buy me a coffee. Although, as I've said in other videos, I'd actually prefer if you just share this video with your friends, help the video go viral. That's all the thanks I need. So let's go on to the first news story. And the first news story is connected to the poppies, but we'll get to that in a second. And that is that the news has come out that Sheffield is effectively banning their Christmas lights ceremony for 2025. Now, this claim, this banning was done by a councillor, a Muslim member of the council, who has suggested that effectively the Christmas lights are not going to occur because of safety. And he says Christmas is cancelled, and I quote, forever. He suggests that, well, they're not really going to do Christmas lights anymore. And this has prompted some individuals to say that Sheffield is going through a degree of Islamification, and that what we're effectively seeing is the new format for banning things that Islamification doesn't enjoy, effectively under the guise of, well, health and safety. Now, this all came on the backdrop of West Ham United dropping the poppy symbol from their club t-shirts, claiming that they no longer aligned with the club's values. And this led many individuals to say, well, what doesn't align with the club's values? This has led to massive online backlash, with individuals such as Tommy Robertson and others accusing the club of remembering and honouring Ramadan whilst rejecting Remembrance Day. Now, why would you do that? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, it does make a lot of sense when you understand that Britain itself is losing its cultural tradition and its cultural identity. Now, this actually came on the back of a viral clip that circulated around Remembrance Day of a World War II veteran lamenting on TV that the country is worse now than when he fought for it. Now, the clip has become symbolic of the frustrations that many British feel of being alienated in their own country from their own cultural symbols and values. In fact, you can actually watch that clip right here.
What does Remembrance Sunday mean for you? What is your message?
My message is, I can see in my mind's eye those rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
What do you mean by that, though, at this point?
What we fought for, and what we fought for was our freedom. We find that even now it's darn sight worse than what it was when I fought for it.
Oh, Alec, I'm sorry you feel like that, because I want you to know that all the generations that have come since, including me and my children, are so grateful for your bravery and all that for service personnel. And it's our job now, isn't it, to make it the country that you fought for. You absolutely fought for.
That is it.
And we will do. We want to...
I'm so wonderful to know there are people like you that can spread the word around.
We will do.
Younger generation.
And I guarantee that everybody watching at home will be wanting you to send lots of love. We've got another little bit special thing for you, Alec. We've got the D-Day darlings here. Come on over, guys. You've got a little special present for him. Ooh. Come and give it if you can, to thank you for all your many brave years of service and others like you.
This is our album, Alec, and I know you love a lot of the songs on there. And this is the least we can do. This is such a small thing, but you know we love you so much, Alec.
wonderful.
And it's all signed for you there as
These
well.
young ladies are like my own daughters.
Now, this has led many individuals to note that the British institutions are bending over backwards for minority appeasers, whilst dismissing the traditional heritage of Britain itself. Now, this became a flashpoint because in another photo that circulated online, a picture of the councillor who effectively declared Sheffield as banning Christmas is seen holding a Palestinian flag at a rally. And this has led many individuals to suggest that we are seeing a degree of political bias going on in terms of the Sheffield's Christmas lights. Now, the council itself says that they are not banning Christmas. They say that they are still funding Christmas markets and events, and they're saying that they're simply restructuring their budgets due to safety concerns. But this has led many individuals to note that Britain is changing. They're changing fast, and it's not in the favour of the locals. Do let me know what you think of that in the comments section below. Now, talking of changes in society, Cyril Ramaphosa met Pope Leo, where he called for a new global spirit, suggesting that we need to build international cooperation and moral unity after years of division. Now, he positioned South Africa as a moral and diplomatic voice between the global South and the West. This has led some individuals to say, well, potentially what Cyril may be attempting to do is find a job for himself after he retires from South African politics. Now, the Vatican visit is effectively South Africa's attempt to push for these forms of global legitimacy, and that's to legitimize South Africa. And this is amid its G20 role and forms of BRICS expansion. This is South Africa's power play globally to make itself relevant. But many individuals are arguing that locally, South Africa's global seat is borrowed and not earned. South Africa basically got this global seat because of the legacy of Mandela, and now that people are really seeing South Africa for who it is, well, it's not really going to stay in that position for long, and that may be why South Africa keeps going around the world and demanding a seat at the table, because it can feel its global grip slipping. Because unfortunately, South Africa's global position is due to goodwill and not domestic strength, because South Africa is not a powerhouse when it comes to the G20 or the BRICS. South Africa is the smallest economy with the smallest population and the least growth. So why South Africa has been given these positions? Well, it's only been given these positions because many in the global environment feel, well, sorry for South Africa. And, you know, South Africa was a pet project and they don't just want to chuck it to one side. But it really isn't carrying itself well. And this is because of power cuts, corruption, governance failures, and overall, South Africa just risks losing any form of influence that it once had in the West, or even including with the BRICS partners, with many BRICS partners losing patience with South Africa as a whole. Now, talking of BRICS partners, this is the news that China's top secret 500 million rand gift to refurbish a major South African military base has come to light. Now, this has been described as a strategic foothold for China in Africa, but it does raise national security and sovereignty concerns. Now, the project's secrecy fuels suspicion that South Africa is trading military access for financial aid. Now, one has to ask the questions, why does nobody know about this? The only real person that seems to know about it is Angie, the defense minister. And if it does turn out that she has given access to a foreign power, access to South African military bases, and to tell them what we have, that's treason. In any case, you may be tempted to say, well, it's South Africa aligning with the communist East. Well, not so fast, because in other news, Trump's son is backing a uranium enrichment plant in South Africa. Now, a US-linked consortium backed by Eric and Donald Trump Jr. are investing in a uranium enrichment venture in South Africa. Now, critics fear that this could reignite nuclear proliferation debates and tie South Africa closer to Trump-aligned geopolitical networks. ironically, this happens as Trump himself continues to attack the South African government. And now, in terms of the attacking the South African government, the news has come out that the F.W. de Klerk Foundation has fired back at Donald Trump's claims that South Africa is a failed state run by criminals. Now, the foundation calls Trump's statements false, inflammatory, and damaging to international perception. But they're not false, though, are they? I mean, we all know that the idea that South Africa being run by criminals is something that even the ANC accepts. So I'm not really sure what the F.W. de Klerk Foundation is smoking. In any case, they defend South Africa's democracy and the rule of law whilst quietly acknowledging deep structural challenges. And I don't know how you can say that South Africa has a rule of law when nobody in the ANC is ever held accountable for the very wrongdoing that it does. Now, talking of BRICS partners, the news has come out that Russia has been recruiting African mercenaries. Now, this is a report that Kiev released, suggesting that over 1,400 Africans from a dozen nations are fighting for Russia in Ukraine. Now, this actually excludes South Africans. Now, we all know how much the ANC loves Russia, but it would appear that many of these mercenaries have been lured by false promises of pay or citizenship, and reports are describing a sad state of these individuals with very high casualties, many of the individuals being effectively cannon fodder. That's effectively what they're being recruited to be. Now, this highlights Russia's expanding influence in Africa through its Wagner-style recruitment and propaganda, but it does raise ethical questions about African government silence as its citizens become cannon fodder in these foreign wars. Now, the reason I mention this article is because we know of instances where individuals have made aliyah and gone to Israel. When the South African government finds out about them, well, according to the government, they are going to try these individuals for war crimes if they ever come back to South Africa. But the same treatment is not being given to mercenaries going to fight for Russia in Ukraine. Strange that, isn't it? Now, onto a very final news article. And this is the news that Solidarity put posters up, highlighting attention to South Africa's race laws, specifically in light of the G20. Now, Panyaza Lesufi wanted the posters taken down because he said that it was effectively the white Afrikaners being racist and trying to paint South Africa in a negative light. But Vincent, the president's spokesperson, said, dude, leave them up. It's a free country. They can say what they want. Now, in response to this, the ANC did something mind-boggling because the posters effectively are meant to show that South Africa has a high degree of race laws and that these race laws effectively bar white individuals from thriving in business. So you know what the ANC did? Well, they produced a number of propaganda campaigns to effectively show how BEE is driving in a, quote, real change on the ground. And the idea here is that they're going to show how black financing through BEE is supporting the creation of black industrialists and tourism entrepreneurs. And so they gave examples of that. But very curiously, one of the companies highlighted was MTN, which I don't know if you can really say the creation of MTN was a BE endeavor, but anyway, it is what it is. They even suggested how companies such as Discovery Health are BE accredited. Again, I'm not really sure what the relevance here is, but it's the posters themselves that are so prominent because the posters themselves show black individuals benefiting from BEE. There are 0 colored, 0 Indians, and 0 other ethnicities. And this has led some individuals to suggest that what we're actually seeing in terms of BEE is not what the ANC thinks that we should be seeing. And that is that it is showing racial exclusion. And it's exclusion from others who you would effectively think that BEE was meant to empower. So yet again, it's our own goal for the ANC. But very curious to see that Vincent, the president's spokesperson, said that as a free and democratic society, we should still allow the posters to remain up, even though the communists inside the ANC, such as Panyaza, doesn't want them there. Let me know what you think of the posters in the comments section below. And in any case, until tomorrow, bye.